Welcome to our channel, a place to recreate tragic stories soaked in tears. Where each line is like a knife cut deep into the mind, where each person is dragged into a fateful vortex with no way out. Keep your heart strong enough, because the story you are about to hear is not a story to soothe, but a wound that never heals, a dark play in which the truth is the most cruel thing. Ted discovered leukemia as a death sentence hanging over his head. He was used to the position of a leader, a person who supports everything, but now, his body betrayed him, every cell in his blood turned into an enemy. Every day, fatigue ate away at his strength, every night, he woke up in a cold sweat, listening to death whispering in his chest. And in that despair, he had only one hope left, Eva. Eva, the only daughter, was willing to rush into any pain to save her father. She did not hesitate when the doctor suggested a bone marrow test, her heart filled with the belief that she was born to carry that bloodline. To once again become the support for the person who had sacrificed his whole life for his family. But the results fell like an indictment. Incompatible. Not 1%. A cold shake of the head from the genetics department seemed to destroy all the foundation she had stood on for 20-some years. The shock made Eva feel like she was torn in two. Her entire childhood appeared, but distorted and shattered. From seemingly sacred memories, Ted's hand holding her hand while crossing the street, his voice shouting when she made a mistake. His arms around her when she was scared, now turned into a painful question: is it all still real when he is not her biological father? Leslie, with the results trembling in her hand, knew that the mask she had worn for 20 years had fallen. Darkness surrounded her not only because of the fear of losing her husband, but also because of the truth being exposed. The years that seemed peaceful suddenly evaporated like smoke. She saw before her eyes the gaping abyss, where Eva, with eyes full of doubt and anger, was waiting for her to fall. Ted, in the midst of his illness, recognized his wife's evasive gaze. The long-buried suspicion suddenly flared up, strong as fire. He felt betrayed not only by his own flesh and blood, but also by the heart of the woman who had sworn to be by his side. Death was approaching, but more frightening was the humiliation, the meaninglessness of a devoted life. Eva fled into the street, her feet lost in a maze with no exit. The city lights clearly illuminated her tear-stained face. Questions swirled in her head like a knife. If Ted was not her father, then who was her father? Why was she deprived of the right to know the truth about herself? She saw herself as a product of lies, a perverted result of desire, a victim of Leslie's game. Dr. Daniel, witnessing the family falling apart, helpless when medicine had no answers. He realized that Ted's despair was no longer in illness, but in mental pain. He looked at Leslie, saw the panic of a woman cornered, saw Eva with her burning eyes wanting to destroy everything. He knew, if the truth remained hidden, the family would burn itself out. Eva began to search for clues. In old drawers, she discovered yellowed letters, shaky lines from a man who was not Ted. Words of love, hidden dates, traces of an affair. She clutched the papers, her eyes dark, her anger boiling. Each word was like a knife carved into his soul, tearing apart all the remaining trust. Ted became worse. In the white hospital room, he collapsed, his breathing weak. But what made him suffocate was not the disease, but Leslie's tearful eyes and Eva's cold gaze standing far away. He saw clearly, even if he survived, this family had died in betrayal. Leslie knelt outside, her whole body trembling. She wanted to confess, wanted to free herself, but the words were stuck in her throat. She was afraid that the truth would kill Ted faster than the disease, afraid that Eva would hate her so much that she would cut off all contact. But the more she feared, the more she was swallowed by the darkness. Guilt surrounded her, drowning every beat of her heart. Eva, clutching the letters tightly, felt the fire in her heart burn everything. She no longer recognized the mother who had held her when she was little. She saw only a traitor, a man who had deceived both her husband and her children, turning the whole family into a tragic comedy. In her eyes, Leslie had died the moment the truth was revealed. Then the news leaked out: the man in those letters was still alive. He had never disappeared. And his return would be a storm that would wipe out the remnants of the family. Eva knew that if he appeared, everything would explode. She both yearned for the truth and feared it would crush her. In the thick darkness, all three people, Ted, Leslie, Eva, are each cornered. One faces imminent death and the shame of betrayal. One carries the guilt of the past and the collapse of the present. One is engulfed in anger, longing for the truth even if it means losing everything. The tragedy ends not with liberation, but with a deadly silence, where all beliefs crumble to ashes. And in that silence, the footsteps of truth are approaching, heavy, inevitable. Today's story has only opened the first chapter of a drama stained with blood and tears. Other secrets are hidden deep in the darkness. Betrayals that have not yet been exposed will cause the fates of the characters to spiral deeper into the abyss. Thank you for accompanying us through this haunting story. If you want to continue following the unfolding tragedies, the buried truths and the hearts that continue to be tormented, be sure to follow and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any developments.